Hello, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Today, I want to talk about something that I have been talking about in my head and maybe to a few people, and it's going to be another short rant. It's not going to be too long, but I wanted to talk about people who like to jump on the bandwagon of certain ideas. They will say that they support something or they will pretend to support something. And I think a lot of the time people don't really actually support what they say that they support. Like I said, they're jumping on the bandwagon. They're virtue signaling. Virtue signaling is something that happens a lot in today's social climate because people want to pretend like they care. Because a lot of people, I think, are afraid of being attacked. So they pretend to care about a certain issue. And a lot of the time, they don't really care as much as they seem to care on the surface. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. Back in October of 2023, I believe on October 7th, there was an attack in Israel. And Hamas, invaded Israel, killed a bunch of people, and there's been a war between Israel and Palestine, and there's been a conflict between those two countries for thousands of years. And, in the last, 15 years, there's been some pretty decent conflicts between them. They've had, like I said, they've had problems for a long time. But recently, that attack happened, and all of a sudden, you see people supporting Palestine when I remember there was some smaller attacks with Hamas and Israel and conflict in 2014, 2015, and I didn't see anybody supporting Palestine back then. No one on social media was having Palestinian flags, and this attack really just showed me how much people can be fake. A lot of people are fake with what they support, and they really don't know what they're supporting. They have a Palestinian flag. This is just an example. This goes for everything, but that's been more recently. But they'll have some type of symbol or some type of cause that they, support supposedly, but they don't understand what they're supporting more than half the time. They don't actually ever do any actual research with what they're supporting. And if they actually understood what they're supporting, then maybe they probably wouldn't support it. But it's just like people, like I said before, they like to, jump on the bandwagon and, virtue signal and pretend to care. And I like to call these people out. And they do not like it when you call them out because they want to pretend to be virtuous and good and pretend like they're serving a good cause. But a lot of the time they do get offended because they know you're calling them out and they know deep down they don't really care about what they say they care about. I'm not trying to say that everyone is like this. There are some people, especially people that I know have been supporting Palestine for the last 20 or something years, or even 5 years before the October 7th attack. If you openly on social media were supporting Palestine before this attack that happened, you're not one of these people I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that jump on bandwagons, that don't really care. And a lot of these people do, and you can see from their social media history and their topics they talk about. And I'm just tired of people jumping on the bandwagon. Don't care about something. Don't pretend to care about something if you don't really care about it. That's actually an insult to the Palestinian people or whatever it is. I see it with gay marriage. I've seen it with transgender rights. A lot of different topics. People pretend that they actually care when in reality they don't really give a fuck. So they're just pretending to look good. They want to look good in other people's eyes because, they care so much about what other people think. And it's just a very sad side of affairs. And, I just wish people would stop, trying to impress other people and just would be themselves. And, I'm just really tired of living in a world full of fake people who pretend to care about things. And, And other people I've talked to have disagreed with me. They think that people are being serious and actually care about these issues. And, like I've said this before, that's like the beauty of having an open dialogue is that people can disagree. And I'm aware that not every single person is going to agree with my point. And that's completely okay. I'm not expecting everyone on the planet to agree with every single point I have or the points that I'm making now about virtue signaling and pretending to care. There's going to be some people that don't agree with me, and that's absolutely fine. But one of the things that I've talked about recently on this channel is having, respectful dialogue, going back and forth with people, and having a respectful dialogue where both people aren't, throwing insults back and forth and having it become very immature. That's something that I don't want to do. And that's something especially that I don't want to do on this channel. I'm very lucky that a lot of people haven't seen these videos in that sense because I don't really get feedback on them. But there comes a time when I'm probably going to gain some traction, I think, and I don't want that to happen. So, these discussions need to stay mature. They need to stay level-headed. And if people disagree with me, that's fine. I'm not expecting, like I said, I'm not expecting everyone to agree, but I just want everything to remain respectful. And, I know sometimes I like to share these videos on other social media platforms, and, not everyone's going to agree, and that's fine. I'm not expecting everyone to agree, but maybe, you could try to understand my perspective of where I'm coming from, because a lot of people get in their emotions and they're not thinking clearly. So maybe try to understand where I'm coming from and understand my perspective, because I know I'm making sense. But that's it for now. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Mars October Rant series, and I'll talk to you all soon, and I'll make another episode very soon. So thank you so much for listening, and I'm signing out now. Goodbye.